And in fact, I have a really good friend. I can't tell you his name because he's part of a very, very heavy metal band. And we've been friends since the 80s. And he called me, got my number from somebody. He said, I'm me. I just want to tell you I love your music. Can we have lunch or something sometime? I said, sure. So we did. And he said how much he loved our music, how much the guys he worked with loved our music. He said, but we can't tell anybody because we'll get it, shit canned for listening to that kind of music.
That's funny. That's funny. I wonder who could it be? A heavy metal band, a big heavy metal band. You'll never give it up, but
no,
you can't give away the secret. Would it be, okay, well, I wouldn't consider Guns N' Roses a heavy metal, but if I was going to pick, I'd pick either an Axl or a James Hetfield from Metallica.
No, you're close, but you're not close with Guns N' Roses. But Guns N' Roses, if I may tell you a couple of stories.
Absolutely, please do.
The guy that used to do our security, Doug Goldstein, his name is.
I know Doug. Yeah.
Oh, well, he ended
I
up
used to play in a band with Gilby Clarke of Guns N' Roses and Steven Adler, the original drummer.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not just an ordinary podcast. I'm a musician that's easy to talk to. So
well, that's great.
Yeah. Welcome to Artist on Record, your ultimate intimate conversation with your favorite artist in the hot seat. From Air Supply, the legendary Mr. Russell Hitchcock. Today in this clip, Russell meets Axl Rose.
I managed Guns N' Roses, and he called me, and I was living in LA then, and he said, I got some good news and some bad news. And I said, okay, I don't care what you give me first. And he says, well, the good news is Axl wants to have dinner with you. And I said, okay, what's the bad news? And he said, he wants to have dinner with you tonight. And I said, okay. So we went to this place in LA that I used to frequent in the early days called the Rainbow. Have you been there?
Of course, yeah, very well. I know very well.
Anyway, I was there for a little while, and Axl came in with Doug and sat down, and Axl raved about what a great singer I was, and and I don't take compliment well, I just go thanks, and that's what are you supposed to say, Anyway, he said, you have the record for holding the longest note on a song, on a love at the end, and I said, whatever. I mean, that's not even, I don't even think about that. It was just, whatever it was, And he said, do you mind if I recorded a song and held a note longer than you? And I said, what are you asking me for, dude? Do what you want. I mean, do what you want. I mean, great.
That is funny.
We had a nice dinner, and he left and I left, and sometime later Doug called me and he said, what are you doing on the weekend? And I was at home for a bit then. It was one of our low periods of touring.
Yeah.
And he said, Guns N' Roses are playing the Freddie Mercury Memorial concert at Wembley. You want to go? And I said, I'd love to, but I can't afford to. And he said, no, you've treated me unbelievably when I was working with the band, and I want to fly you over there. Everything's taken first class, hotel, blah, 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 blah. And I said, awesome. And I was thrilled to death because I got over there, and the Friday night before the show, well, I flew on the same plane as everybody but Axl. And it was in the old days where there was a lounge in the front of the plane, and we were having drinks, sitting around a table. And so I got to the hotel, and I went down to the bar, which was my my go-to. Anywhere I got into, I'd go to the bar. And Slash was there and some other guys, I think Joe Elliott, and I can't really remember. And they were all singing songs, and we were singing, I was singing with them. And it was just, I wish I'd had a cell phone then.
Totally. That's a magic moment.
Yeah. Anyway, the next day they picked me up and take me to Wembley. And, I was walking past Annie Lennox and David Bowie and you name it, George Michael, Elton John, and I was just blown away because I'm a fan still more than I'm anything, So anyway, I went backstage, and there was a car park right there, and I saw Axl, and he was leaning up against a concrete pillar, And I went up and I said, "Hey, Axl, what's going on?" And he looked at me, And I was embarrassed already straight away, you know. And I said, yeah, I met you at the Rainbow. I had dinner with you and Doug Russell, Air Supply. And he goes, don't recall.
Really?
Yeah. And I had a two-word bye-bye to him, and I just left. I thought, what a dick, you know.
Wow.
And then in the dressing rooms, they were all pipe and drape, just with a card with the name of the act on it, you know. And he was the only guy to have a dressing room in the whole. I'm talking about big stars, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They had trailers, the big stars, but he had a dressing room with two guys standing outside, like, you know, this. And I'm thinking, what a joke. Anyway, they did I think they played a couple of songs, and it was cool. You know, everything was like, every act was on. There was no downtime between acts. They had moving risers and all this stuff to get it together. And we were watching TV, a bunch of big stars with me. And the commentator came on and he said, it's been a wonderful day, and except for a lackluster set from Guns N' Roses. And doors burst open, and Axl goes, where is that? I'm going to kick his ass. And, hey, what? And everybody's looking at him like, why don't you just sit down, bro? You know, you ain't that important in the scheme of things today.
That was Mr. Russell Hitchcock. We'll be releasing more clips of my conversation with Russell. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell to be notified. And if you want to see this episode unedited right now, join our members-only club right here on YouTube. Until then, we'll catch you all later. And remember, who loves you, baby? We do.